Sure.
Good evening and welcome to the Shadows of New Orleans. Tonight we are joining the kindred Finger as she's at a meeting with a local union leader. There's been a couple of issues in various industries, and Fingers kind of reached out to union leaders offering to, or at least pointing out some issues. And they have directed him to bring further things to a man by the name of Daniel Lead, who is apparently a shift supervisor at a local foundry, and as well as a coordinator for the local unions. So Daniel is, you were told, can be found at, he's got a small office where he kind of manages some of the union operations. So the office itself is relatively simple. It's an older brick building. You know, he's obviously only renting part of it. And they've got, pro-union posters in the windows, and it's nothing real fancy to attract attention to it.
As always, Figure will saunter right up to the front door, and if any guards try and stop him, he doesn't care. Just keep walking, and he'll knock on the door.
All right. Well, you hear a kind of a rustling inside, and door opens. You'll see this gentleman standing behind it. Small bell rings when he opens it. He says, "Good evening. What can I help you with?"
Known as Finger Calevra. Maybe you've heard of me.
A couple of the guys who are kind of local chapter leaders for us mentioned you'd been around, but since you weren't causing trouble, I don't typically worry myself with it. If it's not a problem, I don't have to deal with it, right?
Well, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. I'm gonna break things down to brass tacks. Are you a man that likes to get down to the nitty gritty? I sense that about you.
Yeah, well, business doesn't get done sitting around drinking coffee. Come on in. You don't need
Make
to talk
valid.
in the hallway.
All right. He comes in. If there's anybody he is talking to, Figure will just glare at them.
It's actually empty, but he's got you can see there's just a pile of paperwork. He's got a desk just covered in paperwork, and seems to be doing a lot of the management legwork himself.
Oh, man, let's get his hands dirty. Though you did miscarry that one, and you can deduct your full 57 from your, you can call it inventory reallocation. Save yourself about $15,000. I just thought you should know that right there. Yeah, that right there. Yeah.
He says, "Well, I dig into my books as much as I can. There's a lot going on. Sometimes there's, overlook some of those legalities. I'm unfortunately not as well versed in my bookkeeping as I used to be, but
Well, I'm rather talented in that general direction, but that is not why I've come to Palava at this hour.
Well,
Don't mind if I see it?
of course, take a seat. Well,
All right,
I might disparage coffee and joke about it. You got a pile of paperwork this high, you're gonna need a cup. So I'm going to have one, unless you have any objection, and I can certainly get you one as well if you'd like.
Oh no. I have supped. I have supped. I'm fine. Thank you.
All right. He says, I got donuts on the desk over there. That's about it. Keep the office pretty low key, low maintenance. It's usually just me in here unless I have to have someone else.
He Finger brought him a $300 bottle of something liquid, something alcoholic that's worth $300.
Okay.
And as a Southerner, I would never show up to someone's bowl without a gift. So here you are, sir.
Well, I certainly appreciate that.
Well, I thought you might.
So I imagine you didn't come down here just to share some fine spirits with the night shift crew workers crunching numbers.
No, sir. I will be frank. I want to be in the Sheffield business.
I see. And
now, like any other investment, it does hold risk. However, great reward.
Well, how are you looking to break out in the business, as it were?
How to break into the Sheffield business? I think a sizable, well, not donation per se, but I believe that I can work with you to make your job a little bit easier.
Well, I'm certainly listening.
In many places. Now, look, I'm not asking for anything underhanded. Simply a preferential phone call. Maybe you call me first. Yeah, sure, you can do business with other people, but if I get a courtesy call ahead of time, that'd be wonderful. And for your service, I will provide you with exceptional dock locations, preference treatment in most areas. And I can see fit to basic financial repayment can be done if that is something you desire. However, instead of me, shooting the breeze and kind of shooting all around, how about you tell me what it is it would take to get into the Sheffield business?
Well, some of that mention on docks and stuff kind of piques my interest, because we've had a lot of issues with some of these young upstarts, these millennial kids and their startup companies and their think tank shops, and of course they want to just try and churn out material. And, they're doing it quicker because they're dumping it out hand over fist, sloppy. They
oh no,
hire anybody. We want to put out quality work. Well, it's hard for us to compete with the volume, but if we had an edge that we were getting our raw material maybe a little quicker or early, that sort of thing, well, then we could compete. Then we can timeline without sacrificing quality.
This is true. And if there were individuals that would like to also use your services, they would choose your services first. I mean, there are lots of jobs that go on books that are optional. Those jobs still create revenue, and there are certain people who would love a percentage of said revenue.
Yeah, that's certainly merit to that. It would help us build our credibility. I manage the labor forces for a couple of different firms in the area, and of course, it's in the best interest of my members for those businesses to be successful. It's also in the best interest of my members for them to have the tools to do their job correctly and efficiently. So, things like getting materials early, getting higher quality materials, getting them delivered quicker. That's all helping my teammates get things done more efficiently without putting undue burden on them. So
this is true. If certain doors were open, your business would in actuality gain a significant amount, I believe.
I certainly see opportunities. I mean, business is what it is. It's always a gamble. It's just a matter of how well you stack the deck ahead of time.
What would you take as a show of good faith, sir?
Well, that's an interesting question. But I would say my biggest thing right now is that we got this contract here that we're trying to meet. You know, our lake here is fantastic with, and well, one of my firms actually does naval vessels. And another one manufactures components that can be used on naval vessels, primarily electronic components. However, been having trouble getting some of the raw material for those bus boards and circuit boards and all the other boards and wires and wire and components. Well, that copper and that gold, of course, that's high value items. So the hoops to jump through to get it have been dragging, and quite frankly, I'd really like to get this naval vessel completed ahead of schedule, because that could result in a lucrative contract for us, which means more work for my staff.
Okay, and what do you think you would need to facilitate such things? Hypothetically.
Well, if we can get some sort of efficient supply chain here to get those wire and raw metals for
those hard to find things that have long waiting lists, no time for definite location, those sorts of things.
Yeah, that and the custom order. There seems to be this mentality that if someone custom orders, it means that they want to wait 2 weeks. Which, in my mind, if I'm paying extra for a custom order, I expect that to move to the top of the list.
Not as if they created a myriad of places that some of these items can be obtained. It's a very small niche market. Yes. Well, it's not a small market, but it is. The people involved inside of it are the only people involved inside of it. So yes, I can understand your difficulties there. However, I do deal with those people on a regular basis, and I can assure you that your name can be moved to the top of the list for about 3 months, you say? 3 months preferential treatment in that general area? What say you?
Well, that should be plenty. They'll at least get this boat in the water, as it were, and once that happens, then we can make a plan based on where that contract lands. We gotta get this one in the water.
John, do I know any
work?
Out of character, John, do I know any not so legal ways that places that he order from? They're not illegal, but they're not like, you know what I'm saying? places that this person might not know about that are alternates for his of what he needs?
Yeah, there'd be like third party resellers or scrappers or
And I have these numbers off the top of my head with my eidetic memory.
yeah, you'd have at least a couple that you could work from. Might be able to dig more up, but
he pulls out a pen and writes down 3 of those numbers. Those are often the vendors for what you need. Now, mind you, your it is up to you if you let the people that you are building for know where you got the items that they need. However, I can assure you that I only deal with the people who are least likely to sell you linens. Simple, just checking merchandise will be what you do. You probably your inventory and volume will probably grow beyond leaps and bounds. They'll send you extra to get rid of excess inventory. But you should be able to, with some hard nosed troubleshooting and making sure that the details are watched, you could probably get through with a very, very low percentage chance that something might be malfunction.
Oh yeah, it's I can't say I've ever thought to look into some of these. Usually think manufacturer's the way to go, but if you know the right people, I suppose third party might be even better.
Well, now if you go third party, you must be prepared to exfil at any moment. He basically gives him the character what he needs to know.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So how to deal with these people. It won't give him any streetwise or anything like that, but it'll make it so that he can gain one later on, basically.
Right.
As I said, I'm an immediate type of person who likes to just get things right out the way. Now, these vendors, like I said, are the most reputable ones. However, do due diligence, and you will probably be okay.
No, well, certainly follow your advice on that. As I said, I'm open to trying additional sources. That's always a plus.
I'm nothing if not resourceful.
That can't be disputed, that's for sure at this point.
Now, as you and I both know, you wield a significant level of power on these docks. Now, neither one of us fooled by this thought that you are simply working man. No, sir. Your position allows you access to records and twit cards and all that sort of thing. I would, as I said, I want to be in the Sheffield business.
Well, yeah, I have to handle all the licensing and processing and certifications for all my staff with the firms I handle, and I represent a chain of laborers. We basically our union's been formed of guys who take particular types of products start to finish. So we have guys who are in that supply area. We have guys who are in the manufacturing, guys who are in the assembly, but all represented together.
You make a valid point.
So, if you are you looking to obtain certification? Do you have staff that need to be certified?
Well, like I said, that remains to be seen. It's a future endeavor thing. I'm a long-term type of planner. Now, the things that I've given you right now simply just to solidify the proof that I can proof of some of the few services that I can provide. This is without me calling any contacts. This is without me having to get back to you. No. Immediate service would be my thing. However, heads up when things are going to change, rules, routes, security routes, things you've heard on the grapevine that would not reach my ears. That is all.
Well, I can certainly manage that.
And also, I have a place if you need to rent out any union parties or whatever. I happen to have a place that you could have a place that you could use free of charge, and I will, of course, provide all the alcohol.
Well, I'll keep that in mind at least. At least for some of us, the bigger events we try and get like the Moose Lodges or the Masons, get them involved too. But yeah,
yes, I understand.
If we've got a smaller gathering, then certainly,
of course, that is all I'm asking to be considered. And I'm not saying that you use me for sure, but consideration would come at a level of appreciation that would be out of this world.
I think that seems very reasonable.
That is all. The first order of business is this. There is a location that I need. If there was a location that I needed to have not so much watched as vandalized greatly and heavily, individuals that could do that sort of thing.
Well, we certainly have some guys who know how to get involved and. Do you have something specific in mind right now, or are you just more of for future reference type? No,
not so much right now. But again, as I said, your needs will come before anything else right now. Essentially, the Twit card is the almighty weapon of the almighty weapon of all merchant, from the merchant marines to Steve Doors on the ground. Twit card get you. It will open doors that most identification can't. However, they are notoriously all that word thorough. So they are notoriously thorough. And there's some people, some good, hardworking people that would just like to earn a living, and their past transgressions keep them from doing said things. Do you agree? John?
Yeah.
Like, do you agree?
Well, yeah, doing a little bit of pondering here, and I think that can be arranged. I think we can work something out. I also think this could lead to some additional opportunities. And
well, of course.
Well, you see, I'm
one second, John. Normally, I was wondering if you could roll now a regular human, of course, would not try and do this, but he's fingered. Can you make a perception check to listen for the buzz? Now, I don't have auspex or anything like that. Listening or any recording equipment.
Yeah, you would not be able to tell there's not no sort of recording equipment or anything. This
But yes, like I said, yes, many opportunities can be created where we combine our forces. For instance, I have a media individual who, during elections of stewards, could perchance do a few puff pieces on you. Were you to give him something in return, maybe something simple and dirty on a rival that we both dislike, that sort of thing.
well, that's a valid possibility. I was also more directly thinking that there's well, I'm in the market, as it were, for an engineering or architecture firm. Either one. I've got some building stuff. I gotta, general construction that some of my guys are going to be on. And I gotta review exactly.
Well, I happen to know some people who are definitely into construction. My problem is that they're going to take a great deal of percentage and generally be annoying. However, they can get a foot in the door.
Well, that's a start.
Now remember, these unsavory individuals, they do have construction businesses, but they're going to take a piece here, they're going to take a piece there. As long as there are ways to break ties with them in a positive manner. Simply let me know you wish to dissolve the connection and understand the betwixt two of y'all, and I can facilitate that also.
That seems reasonable.
I'm nothing if not reasonable.
Yeah, stands up and says, "Oh, I appreciate it. I think we're in a solid game plan here to move forward."
Indeed, we do. Indeed.
Well, then, sure. If there's nothing else directly you want to discuss.
I have one dot of spies. The spies that was given to me via, a bunch of role play or whatever. Now, can I transfer that to him as a point of good faith? Just some people that like here, just favor trading. Can I do that?
Yes.
In that case, he'll say, talk of the devil. One of the things that, again, keeps me in the loop, as it were. Now, while you might understand how this world works, there are other worlds that have a look-see into. I can facilitate eyes in those worlds. You'll have to maintain them some way your own self, through financial coercion, thuggery, whatever. But I will trade you that information in order to solidify our business relationship in a more permanent fashion. What say you? And no, these people are not somebody's going to give you falsehoods and information like that. This is going to be true blue facts of what you need. However, they do need to be taken care of.
I don't think that'll be a problem. We'll get that arranged just fine.
Yeah, so out of character, yes, he will lose his bias background, which I never use anyway, and give it to this guy. Sort of thing.
Alrighty. Well then, Mr. Finger, I believe we have ourselves a business arrangement. So I will let you go. There's probably plenty of excitement out there for you already. And I'm going to return to my paperwork.
I will need 6 by the beginning of the month.
Of course.
Thank you, sir. Have a fine day.
Thank you, you as well. All right, well, he will finish up, and he writes up kind of an impromptu agreement, nothing detailed, a lot of doublespeak type language. But then he says, he hands over a copy. He says, I'm an old-fashioned guy. I believe a man's word and his handshake cover it, but this way we at least got a copy. We don't need signatures. Neither of us are going to drag the other guy to court. That's not worth it to either of us. But there might be times where you need a full-page document, so there you go.
Thanks, Zep. Can I roll my any law or finance or whatever?
Well, seems to me, Mr. Finger, that you and I may be meeting more often in the future here, and to great effect.
Oh, yes, we will make things happen, sir.
Excellent. Oh, I hate to rush you out, but it seems I've got a couple of new vendors we're working with, and I gotta get the paperwork together to make sure they get issued POs and things get paid.
If you don't mind.
He kind of chuckles and holds up the couple of phone numbers you gave him.
Yes, sir, I will be seeing you.
He says, well, I look forward to it. So,
all right.
And he will, he walks you to the door. Got a handful of papers. He seems to be already rereading some paperwork, but yeah. Kind of sets it down long enough to shake your hand at the door.
Do I need to look over this with like a law roll or whatever?
No, it's not a formal document or anything. It's just a kind of notations of what you guys discussed.
Okay.
So, all right. Then you hear him head back and start typing on the keyboard just before you left. So. And if you don't have anything else, I'll go ahead and wrap this one up. Alrighty. So, this has been a Shadows of New Orleans, a vampire side scene as Mr. Finger starts getting his hands dirty a little bit in some of the blue-collar industries. So, thank you, players, for playing and watchers for watching, and we look forward to having you join us on another night.